Welcome to the 3 Knockdown Rule. Starring Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. Presented by Hustler Casino.
Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our show on YouTube. It's fun. It's funny. I break this guy's balls. His wig looks crazy every week, but it's still worth doing it. Check out these badass shirts we got right now. Check it out.
Even though Mario's on it, you'll still learn something, and it's still some insightful analysis. And then I bring the funny, and I don't know what he brings.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm the star of the show here.
You bring the grumpy.
Oh, but the grumpy. Anyway, like and subscribe.
Yes,
3
please.
Knockdown Rule.
We appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule is back in effect, brought to you by Hustler Casino. I'm Steve Kim, and I'm joined by Mario the Bolt Lopez.
Hey,
3-0.
Bolt up. We're going to get into that a little bit more later. By the way, I posted it, but shout out to you for getting all the characters on Rocky Balboa's Punch-Out, even Spider Rico. That was impressive, my friend.
Us Asians, we do test well.
Also, shout out to Smoking Tim Frazier on the ones and twos.
A big show lined up, the bout sheet. We have fights at Fantasy Springs, the Big Five of Mario Lopez, and I Asked Mario, and Final Flurries.
Listen, I know how popular GLP-1 programs are right now. Unfortunately, I've been hearing a lot of you guys getting ripped off, paying like $1,000 a month, fighting with insurance, getting scammed by companies that aren't legit. That's why I'm here to tell you about LifeRx. Literally always telling you about them because you're going to get the exact same meds for just $250 a month. Flat rate never goes up. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews. All their meds come from FDA-registered U.S.-based pharmacies. Honestly, the team's just amazing. Drop into the link below if you want to check them out and tell them Mario sent you.
All right, and this podcast is brought to you by Hustler Casino. Starting September 1st, all Cal game jackpots are doubling in size every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all day long. Love Baccarat, 3-card poker, blackjack, and other Cal games. Now's the perfect time to play and win double the jackpot. Stop by, get in the game, and see how big you can win at Hustler Casino, or find out more at hustlercasino.com.
Round 1.
All right, round number 1 from the Zone. Fantasy Springs brought to you by Golden Boy Promotions, our main event, and still the Ring Magazine and WBO and WBA minimum weight champion of the world, the pride of Puerto Rico, Oscar Collazo, with a 7th round stoppage over Jason Vayson. Mario, we always talk about it. We don't like courageous corners, but we also like corners that actually like to let fights play out. I thought that was a bizarre throwing in of the towel from the Vayson corner.
It was bizarre, especially because he was having moments.
Yeah.
It looked like he was in that fight, and he was coming back, and it was competitive. And look, I understand you being cautious about someone you really care about. You don't want to see you get hurt. But it just looked like an odd time in particular to stop that. If you're letting it go on, there wasn't even a flurry of punches, or he looked like he was able still to defend himself. I'm never going to question someone on a stoppage, but it did make it look peculiar. I don't think like there's any shadiness going on. I just think they were overly cautious, much to the dismay of the fans there.
As they say, discretion is the better part of valor, but some of this sport is about working through tough times. And again, you're right. We can't second guess because every time there's a fatality, what's the first thing we say? Corner didn't do anything. And nobody knows their fighter more than they do. But I will say this. I've probably seen tens of thousands of fights where guys were taking worse than that. So, and I'll say this, if every fight of that nature was stopped right then and there, I think it would be very tough to sell boxing. That's the brutal nature and reality of this business.
Absolutely, and we wouldn't have a lot of the champions we have. And the fight, look, you don't want to get into a certain habit of that. Again, maybe there was a pre-existing issue we're not aware of. I'm waiting to see the fallout. But yeah, in watching it, it was a bit of a buzzkill because it seemed like it was premature.
I tell you one thing, Collazo is certainly one of the best dozen or so fighters in the world. He's on certain pound-for-pound lists, and all due respect to Amanda Serrano or anyone else, I believe Collazo is currently the best Puerto Rican boxer around. Now, I don't know when Golden Boy is going to start focusing in on the island, but I think it is past due that he gets to go back to Puerto Rico and headline his own card. He's a sharp little boxer puncher. I call him Ivan Calderon with a much higher degree of entertainment value. I just like watching him work, and I think that may have gone into the thinking of the Vayson corner. They're thinking, wait a minute. This guy just gets better and better, and he chips away at us. And if it's a young fighter, we don't want to lose everything in one night. So let's preserve our guy. I can understand that feeling. But again, as a hard-working fight fan, if I'm there and just when the fight's getting good, you pull the plug, I could see where there's frustration.
Absolutely. And look, unless you've got one-punch knockout power or you've got that eraser that you can turn things around, then maybe it's a little different.
And I think the stakes have to, let's put it this way. If that was a unification bout and a type of fight that, let's say it was Michael Carbajal against Chiquita Gonzalez, which, by the way, that's a fight. I remember their first one in 1993. Michael Carbajal was getting banged around a lot.
Which fight was this again?
The first one they had in 1993 at the Las Vegas Hilton.
I was at that fight.
The first time flyweights ever made $1 million.
When he fought Chiquita Gonzalez.
Yes.
That was an awesome fight. He was in the comeback with the big left hook. I remember that.
Didn't he freeze him and he was on his shoulder and he just moved and that's when he kind of went down.
But by the standards on this past Saturday,
it wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. Yeah, you're exactly right. And one of the greatest, I think, I've ever seen comebacks, and it definitely would have got stopped, was Castro and Jackson.
John David Jackson in Mexico City
on the Chavez Tony Lopez undercard. That's probably the greatest one-punch comeback I've ever seen with the abuse that he was taking. I was there watching it with a friend. I can't believe I remember this. And he wanted to change the channel because he thought it was too violent for his son who was with us watching. He goes, bro, I can't have it. Little Tommy. I remember his son who was like 10 or something at the time. And then all of a sudden, it ended. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a brutal reality to the sport. We don't want any fatalities. But again, everyone knows what they're getting. I think it's a tough one. It is a tough one. But again, discretion is the better part of valor. And for the undisputed female flyweight championship of the world, Gabra Fundora just chops up the game Alexis Kubicki in 7. Mario, I get the sense, like her brother Sebastian, Gabby's going to have a decided height advantage in every fight she has. And I'll make this comment. I think she hits harder pound for pound than Sebastian.
I agree with that. And would you say they're the greatest brother-sister boxing combo in history?
There's been a few like the Hans from Texas. Neither of them were world champions.
Yeah, they're both world champions, and dare I say, she might even be a little on a higher level than her brother. It's quite impressive. Hey, that Kubicki, she's tough.
Yeah,
she was taking some shots, and she was game. But see, I don't have a problem with that stoppage.
No, you don't.
That one's different.
She had eaten a lot more leather, and Fundura's like a rock slide. When she comes downhill, you're not stopping it. And I get the sense with her frame and her age, Fundura's going to be a multi-division champion. Let's be honest about it and be realistic. The women's divisions do not have the depth of the men. I don't see who beats her for at least 2 or 3 weight classes, but another strong performance from Gabby Fundora. Also winning on this card are prospects Joe Irarte, Gael Cabrera, Grant Flores, and Ruslan Abdullayev. All right, we come back. More of the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino.
Catch it streaming live right on YouTube.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
$1.2 million.
And I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
There's a 400K flip. If I win by way, you get 10 grand.
Fucking straddle!
For my fans!
What?
Wow. All in a call.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Raise it up.
Review preview.
And we're back on the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino. All right, Mario and I are doing a special segment. We're going to talk about 5 fights that he and I want to see in the future. Some of them I think are going to happen. Some of them are kind of planned, but they're in pencil more than ink. What is your big 5?
Okay. And some of these might even disrupt fights that are supposed to be
Let it be
made.
Let it be.
And that are in the books or maybe haven't been officially announced yet, but seems like they're inevitable. But regardless, here are my fights that I want to be in no particular order. Okay? I've been really wanting to see Shakur versus Tank. Even though I know Tank, we want to see the rematch with Lamont Roach, but I just think because of the name value, the styles, I still want to see Shakur versus
But wait a
Tank.
minute, doesn't Tank have a bigger fight right now?
Dude, by the way,
What a
let's
great
just-
press
let's
conference.
just-
Aren't you
let's just-
excited?
That press conference, no, when they stood next to each other, I told you the physical mismatch, it's
embarrassing.
Barnum and Bailey. The circus is in town. It's so embarrassing, just visually,
I guess it's a 195-pound weight limit.
What's up with those brothers? I'm all about get your money, but you had Logan Paul fighting Mayweather, and he's about 100 pounds. Now you've got Jay Paul fighting Tank, and he's about 100 pounds. The whole thing is just, it's preposterous.
And the big gloves that they're using.
God. What size are the gloves?
I think they're going well above 10.
Oh, God. Just, all right. Anyway, Shakur Tank. Guys are there, okay? That's one. I still want to see the sound. Number 2, Teofimo versus Ryan Garcia. Really want to see that.
Boy, you are living in 2021.
I really want to see. You don't tell me you don't want to see this. I still want to see this. Shakur versus Tank, because I like these are still, I think, sort of they could be, you can build events around them. All right, Shakur versus Tank, Teo versus Garcia, and then just on a personal, I want to see Virgil Ortiz versus Xander Zayas.
Oh,
Okay, that's 3. 4, I want to see Bud Crawford versus Janibek.
ooh.
Okay. Those are my 4.
love
Shakur
that
versus
one.
Tank. That's my Mount Rushmore. Now hold on before I get to 5. Shakur versus Tank, Teo versus Garcia, Virgil versus Zayas, and Bud versus Janibek. Okay? I know Janibek's supposed to be fighting Adames. It might be announced, but I still like that fight a lot. Now, as far as my 5, I got like a little tie here. I either want to see Inoue versus Junto or Benavidez versus the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev.
Well, you have to pick one. The rules
I know
are
I got to
5.
pick one, so I was going to defer to you. What do you think? I mean, there's stuff that has to happen for the Benavidez and Bitter. I think, oh God, they're both great. So see, like they're both 5.
Yeah.
They're both. I want to see
they're
them
5
both
and
equally.
5B. Yeah, you can do that.
5A and 5B. That's it. Those are my 5A and 5B. What do you think on my list?
Tank Davis and Shakur is on my list. No need to speak about that.
Okay.
Junto Nakatani against Inoue is on my list.
Okay,
and
we got 2.
I
We got
actually
2.
believe has a very good shot of happening next year.
That's 2.
Now, I do have Virgil Ortiz.
Hold on.
in-
If you match a third one, you win a trip to Cancun.
Yes, thank you. I do have Virgil Ortiz in one of my fights, but instead of Xander Zayas, right? Because I think Xander's headed to 160. I think he's going to make the obligatory soft defense on the island whenever Top Rank gets a TV deal, and then he's going to say, I've grown out of it, so it'll be at 160. But you know who is in the same weight class as Virgil Ortiz, and he just got there? He's fighting in October. Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, there's been talk of this fight.
I love that fight too. I just like the Mexican-Puerto Rican thing, and again, that could have been a lot of fun leading up to it. But yes, I have no problem with that fight. I love
And
that
Jaron
fight too.
Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, there was a lot of talk last year, a lot of finger pointing about who's zooming who was ducking who.
That's good.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Virgil Ortiz has to fight Erickson Lubin in November. A month before, Jaron Ennis has to fight Lima. All right, guys. After that, there's no reason for the first quarter of 2026 to not fight. And if I'm the zone, because one's with Matchroom, one's with Golden Boy, here's how the business should run. And I don't know if the zone has any quality control, quite frankly. And yes, it'll probably be pay-per-view because it's the zone. I would say flat out, I'm not accepting any other fights for you two except against one another. That's how HBO used to kind of do it.
I like that.
Here's a fight that's for the purist in me because he's one of my favorite guys, and I think he's a real fighter, but he'd be in for a tough fight to win his first real title. Our guy, Bruce Shoo Carrington, against Rafael Espinoza, a tall order indeed.
I love
That's
that
the
fight.
purist in me.
The fights that we didn't have exact on our list would fill out the rest of my top 10. Absolutely.
And one more.
Okay.
I have Janibek in a fight, but it would be one that if he won it would entice Crawford. So me and you are kind of working together
Okay,
here.
we're working together.
The other, remember, Janibek has 2 belts. One of the other belts is with Carlos Adames.
Which I heard that fight looks like it might be
Well,
made.
there's some rumors that or Lara, who has the other belt. I like either one, but I prefer Adames.
So do I. And I got to tell you, I like Janibek in those fights.
So do
no matter
I.
who it is. I really do. And I think it's a very competitive fight with Crawford. I really do.
Ooh, if Crawford is somehow able to win the undisputed middleweight crown, we are now talking 4 divisions. Unprecedented.
Then you might have to jump him ahead a little of Usyk. God, what Usyk did is so impressive, though, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, what he's done is
You
so
are splitting
impressive.
hairs here.
You're splitting hairs. You're literally
Now,
splitting
let me ask you,
hairs.
it should
You don't like my Teofimo Ryan Garcia fight? I think that's a fun fight. Think of the antics. Think of the press conferences. Think of the numbers.
What's the mental health like?
Exactly.
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. Both of them, like that. You think of everything we'd get. That's what I meant.
What do you think of the talk of the Teofimo Lopez Shakur Stevenson fight?
Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
It sounds great, right? It sounds great. On paper, it sounds great.
Until you see it.
And then I think you see it, and I think
You're
both
like,
become very. I think Shakur is so talented that he can stink the joint out by sticking and moving and boxing, and not a very.
And Teo is a counterpuncher by nature.
Exactly.
You never put two counterpunchers in there together.
Exactly. So that's why I don't think it's going to have as many fireworks. For some reason, I think he'll press with Garcia.
Yeah.
And Garcia, you have to watch with that quick counter left hook he has. So I think that's just a more exciting fight. But it does look like the Shakur Teofimo fight would happen.
All right, so there it is. That's the big five from Mario and Steve Kim. Moving on. Okay, December 27th, Night of the Samurai. Bonsai. All right, from Saudi Arabia, of all places, not Tokyo, but in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Bonsai.
Inoue is going to take on the artist David Picasso, and Junto Nakatani has vacated both his 118-pound titles. Should they both win, Mario, the fight we just spoke about, I believe is going to happen in May or June of 26 in Tokyo at the Dome. I'm going to that one. Let's mark that off. Mark that off.
Look at you, Daddy Warbucks, getting out
Let's
there.
go do the show from there.
No,
Yeah.
I need freshly brewed Sapporo. I'm going to tell you that right now. I heard the fish is really good over there, too.
Hey, remember last time we traveled international was nice.
Yeah, you pack your own bags.
No,
and remember, you get one carry-on. I'm not carrying your.
Don't take your elderly friend this time. You
Yeah.
can't carry your stuff.
Yeah, we might get locked out of the airport and miss our flight.
That's
Thanks,
right.
God, what good blank was that day.
I got us on the last flight.
Yeah, that
remember?
is true
In
about
London,
that.
I made it happen.
Also, the WBC has mandated. Now, Mario, this is a fight you saw up close at Allegiant Stadium. Christian and Billy Lester Martinez. I love the fact that WBC said, all right, we're going to do this again. But I have a question. And Billy is the interim champion, which is another way of saying, hey, you're the mandatory, but we're not going to enforce it, right? But that's when he was with Canelo. Now it's with Crawford. I have a question. At what point does Mauricio Suleiman say, okay, the winner of this within XYZ months, you get Crawford? Because interim has to mean interim. Too many times, Mario, it means permanent. I hate that.
No, I know. You have to put a timetable or a time frame on it. You're exactly right. I'm really curious to see what Crawford is going to do next, if in fact he wants to continue at all, because he could perfectly sail off into the sunset with his incredible career. I guess selfishly, it would be nice to see him try to continue to further his history-making efforts in solidifying the 160 middleweight championship. And I would love to see that fight, like I said, with Janovic. So outside of that, I don't know if I'm excited about anything else. I know there was like a little bit of talk about Benavidez and stuff. That's the way that now we're getting into Jake Paul, sort of different size proportions, and it becomes prosperous. I mean, it becomes preposterous. But outside of 160, I don't think I want to see him anywhere else.
If he wants to do a farewell fight, someone brought this up to me on Twitter, and I remember being there when he had his big opening debut as a primetime fighter against Yuriorkis Gamboa. And they brought in like 15,000. You're like, wow, Omaha really supports this guy. Yeah. This past weekend, he let out the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Lincoln Memorial Field.
They'd show up.
If you did a farewell fight on the Nebraska Cornhuskers football stadium,
smart.
I believe you can get 50, 60, 70,000.
But are we talking against a Janovic?
No, see, I don't know if Janovic would do it. Well, maybe he may not have a choice then.
Maybe. Well, who else?
That's a great question. You're right. But look, it always comes down to money. The money matters. And also, November 8th, we talked about this. Virgil Ortiz is going to take on Erickson Lubin for the 154-pound WBC interim title. And Mario, on this undercard presented by Golden Boy in Fort Worth, Texas, Floyd Schofield, coming off that first-round blowout over Tevin Farmer, takes on Joseph Diaz, who battled hard against Regis Prograis a couple months ago.
Yeah, Jojo Diaz, who was at the Chargers game this past weekend, too.
Didn't know he was a fan.
And your boy Ryan Garcia, so there was a few fighters out there. I like that he looked good in this last fight. Did we walk away thinking he could have had his hand raised, or was just a valiant effort?
I thought it could have been a draw, and it was certainly much closer than expected. The other thing is, I wonder, though, was it the last really any good version of Joseph Diaz, though? Sometimes you just empty the tank and now it's on E. But
he deserves another payday, though.
But Floyd Schofield, if he faces a good version of Joseph Diaz, no one's ever stopped him, from what I can recall. That would be, I think, a pretty bold statement from Floyd Schofield. Hey guys, are you looking to get involved with the 3 Knockdown Rule and sponsor our show? We have some spots available. Please email us at info@boxbid.io. Once again, that's info@boxbid.io. Boxbid is an online platform that helps professional boxers connect with their fans by providing exclusive Fight Week merchandise, memorabilia, and sponsorships. You can even buy a shout-out on boxbid.io. Boxbid handles our sponsorships, and we are proudly working with boxbid.io. All right, moving on to the Ask Mario segment of our fine program. Here's one from, I don't know if it's Petar or Peter Gutsev, but he says, hey, Steve Kim and Mario Lopez, I really enjoyed Golden Boy Chicago event. Many markets have been missing live boxing. What markets do you think could use more live boxing? I enjoy Vegas, but 3 or 4 of those trips per year is not sustainable for the average boxing fan.
Yeah, I too enjoyed it in Chicago. Look, I think Virgil Ortiz has fought in Dallas a few times. I think that's another great market for him. We just talked about Bud possibly fighting in Omaha, Nebraska again. I think that could be incredible. You know, going to the island to see Xander Zayas, that could be a lot of fun too. And I think every time we do that, obviously building the brands, raising their profiles, it's great for the sport.
Mario, we're not getting a lot of fights in LA all of a sudden.
I know. Remember when we used to go to what was the StubHub? They did the one fight at we did a couple at BMO at BMO Stadium. That was a lot of fun too.
What I am told is really the rent and the union. So cost is an issue. Also, New York, we don't get that many fights at Barclays or Madison Square Garden. Philadelphia, I think it's great that Matchroom has started to really showcase Boots Ennis and build it.
Right.
Miami is actually hosting the Jake Paul Tank Davis fight. Now, Miami is a big event city. I know this for a fact. You just can't put any fight there. But you want to get people to kind of go there and say, hey, I want to have a good time along with the fight. Certain events fit. And by the way, Miami used to be a fight city, by the way. When you had the Fifth Street Gym, the Dundee Room. Other cities, I believe Chicago for years has been underused. I hope Golden Boy or anyone else goes back there. San Francisco, I remember years ago, people forget this. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao co-headlined a show in 2001.
Yeah.
People forget that.
You know what other city, too? We talked about him earlier. Michael Carball, Phoenix.
That was a big market.
Phoenix, Arizona was
and
also a big
they've
market.
actually used that Top Rank a lot with Oscar Valdez and Navarrete.
That's what I'm saying. That's another good. And there's a lot of Texas cities, too. Houston was a good fight town.
Yes.
San Antonio's a good fight town. Dallas, El Paso. I remember Deloy filled out a stadium
48,000 against Patrick Charpentier.
Yes.
And that was a WBC Miss Mandatory, and Larry Merchant had one of the great lines of all time. They did a story on how Charpentier collected beer cans. Like, he had this extensive collection. So as he's walking into the ring, Larry Merchant goes, yeah, so this is a tomato can who collects cans. No, there's your story, folks. I was like, oh, Larry.
Cold as ice,
And
Larry.
by the way, he wasn't wrong. Another city, interesting, but speaking of Vegas, I read a lot of stuff, and I see the videos about the economic downturn of the city. The hotel rooms are not selling. People are sick of the resort fees, the nickel and diming. I don't know if Vegas is going to be the major player as it has been for the last 30 years. That may actually force promoters to go to other markets, because the money that may have been once there from the Mandalay Bay, MGM Grand, the T-Mobile Arena, they just may say, nah, we can't give you the same deals.
It's going to be, well, you still save a lot on your state taxes. And a lot of these Indian casinos might get into the mix too, because we've seen. I used to see a lot of fights at Pachanga.
Right.
Remember that?
Well,
James Toney used to fight there
or
all
on the
the
East
time.
Coast, Foxwoods.
Foxwoods, exactly.
Yeah.
Those we used to see some good cards.
Mohegan Sun.
That's where James Toney fought Masila Chirov.
Yes, great fight. 2003 fight of the year. Here's one from Peter Courthampton. Hey guys, Canelo's road to the championship looked nothing like Crawford's. Canelo stayed active and battled a series of all-time greats. Crawford has proven you can fight just once a year or even less and still reach the pinnacle. Will the new crop of fighters follow Crawford's blueprint?
Well, here's the thing. Crawford has proven that he can do it. Doesn't mean other fighters can do it. And at the same time, Canelo's road is what allowed him to become a star. We talked about it last week, how after he's gone, it doesn't necessarily mean that Crawford's filling that void as far as this box office star, filling out stadiums and making hundreds of millions of dollars literally for one fight. So, yes, Crawford is talented enough to pull that off, but it didn't do anything for his star power.
If you can live the life of Crawford and not drink and work out consistently and go to the gym even when you know I'm not going to fight for another 9 months and stay sharp, I guess in theory you can, but most of these fighters are prey to human nature and being young men with options. I've always said the greatest weapon or skill that Bernard Hopkins had was his discipline. It wasn't his speed or quickness or power, because late in his career, he's like 48, 49. How did he do it? Easy. He lived the life of a fighter 365 days a year. I saw it personally in his habits. A lot of these young guys, you look at them 3 weeks after a fight, you're like, can you at least go back to 24-hour fitness and hit the treadmill? My God, it's sickening.
I know.
But so we are breeding, because of the way the contracts are laid out, the inactivity is forced. Mario, I actually think a lot of these fighters are not perpetrators. I think they're actually victims of this whole business model that has been in place for about 25 to 30 years. Here's one from the masses meant. The Canelo disrespect bothered me after last Saturday's loss. Nothing wrong with losing to a better fighter. I personally think Canelo and Bud should retire. Both made a lot of money. Both were huge in their era with nothing to prove. What do you think their next moves should be?
Well, they definitely don't need to fight. They did make a lot of money, and their legacies are set in stone. They're two of the best of their era and future Hall of Famers, but they're also at the point where they both, even in the Canelo loss, could continue to move on with their career and still make even more money. I've never heard anyone say...
Can Crawford make more money, though? I'm not sure about that.
No, well, he's going to get paid.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's making more than what he made last time, but he will still continue
I get the sense for Crawford, he has climbed Mount Everest. What else is there?
He absolutely has. But, okay, let's say he made 40, 50 million this last time. If he still can make 20, not bad.
Right.
I've never heard anyone say, you know what, I've got too much money.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't need any more.
You never have heard anyone say that. I don't care who they are. They've never said, you know what, I got too much money. I'm good. So it's just depending on how he feels. He didn't certainly look like he should retire because he was diminishing in his skill set or his body was betraying him. He didn't look like that. But yes, it would be a sort of a fairy tale that he rides off into the sunset with his faculties intact and no serious harm done to his body. But at the same time, he could pick up another $25 million check, fight another guy. So that's hard to say no to.
Mario, I wonder how important is it for Crawford to have the 0 on the right side of his ledger?
I don't think he is obsessed with it. I get the sense that he's not as obsessed with it because he didn't even try to stink out the joint with Canelo when he was comfortably ahead. He still stood there and fought, even at the end. I think he's a fighter through and through, and that's one of the reasons why I really love him and respect him.
Clay Stevenson asks, hey, Mario, I see that Teal Lopez is a free agent and headed to PBC. What do you think of that move? There are reports.
Is that official?
Well, there are reports that should Lopez and Stevenson meet, and there's been a lot of rumors that fight's going to come down. It's on third base, headed home, that it'd be a PBC event, but it's really financed by Turkey. You know what I mean? Here's the thing about Teal. He's the type of guy that the dating will always be good. It's the marriage you can't handle.
Well, I don't understand. He'd rather fight Shakur than Devin Haney? He had Devin Haney for, I believe...
I think you're right about that.
He's taking Shakur against it. You don't think that's much more dangerous to you?
Well, I wonder what the money is, though. What's the difference in money?
It can't be that much more. Put it this way. Based on Haney's last fight and the way Teo looked, I would have jumped all over that.
Agreed.
And assuming he's victorious, he could have even made more money in this fight. He would have been with another fight under his belt. He wouldn't have been as rusty. It just doesn't make business sense to me, don't you think?
Yeah, it really doesn't. Hold on. A lot of things Teo has done makes no business sense or otherwise with me. I mean, I'll just go back. 2 days after beating Josh Taylor, a spectacular effort, he becomes a junior welterweight champion of the world. He goes on ESPN with Max Kellerman's show, and what does he do? He announces his retirement. Okay, go ahead. The game didn't stop. It moved on. In fact, in many ways, it passed him by. Here's one from the Filthy Casual, our good friend Alex. Virgil Ortiz is 27 years old. He only has 23 fights as a pro, despite turning pro 10 years ago. He's an exciting fighter, undefeated fighter with an excellent resume, but still has no belt. My question is it smart for him to turn down a shot versus Bakram Murtalazayev at this point in his career?
Well, he's got his fight against Lubin, but
Lubin's not a champion.
I understand. I would have liked to personally see him against Murtalazayev. I don't know why that guy's been avoided a lot. He happens to go to the KDMMA gym that my boys train at, that I was just telling you about. And they told me that Murtalazayev finally has a fight lined up. But they were saying that they were avoiding him. And then I asked him about Ortiz too, and they said that he had turned that down. I was a little surprised to hear that. After this fight, assuming he is victorious, I think if he's not able to lock down any of the champions, he's got to jump on Murtalazayev.
Here's the other thing about Virgil, who actually, to be fair, has a very good resume. Forget the fact he hasn't won a world title.
It's just ironic that he doesn't have a world title with
right.
an impressive
Remember,
resume.
he went all the way up to 47, was getting in line, and his body gave out. Okay, so that held him back for about 2 years, actually. So we have to put a little context into this. But again, this is what bothers me. Virgil, I think, is the WBC interim champion at 54. All right. If the boxing business was serious about fixing itself, it would say, okay, Virgil, there's Fundora. You wouldn't want to watch that fight?
That's another good one. That's another good one. Yes,
I'm just saying, the fights are there. I mean, Alex actually makes a pretty good point. It's like,
listen, Murtalazayev or Fundora or Zayas, I'm down for any of them.
I'm just glad Murtalazaev's fighting somebody. My God, it's getting ridiculous.
It was.
Here's one from Diego. DH asks Mario, UFC has been extremely successful creating a league brand of combat sports. Along the way, personalization when it comes with gloves, trunks, boots has been lost. If the path forward in boxing involves losing this uniqueness, would you be receptive to this change?
I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I think
point.
It's he sort of has a monopoly on the elite MMA fighters in the world, and there's just it's too fractured in boxing, and even with Turkey involved, I really don't think it'll get to that point. I think they'll have a healthy stable, but I don't think they won't make it like the NFL in the way they do with UFC.
Mario, Diego brings up a good point. Something I've talked to people. You know what I used to love is the unique ring walk. Whether it was Prince Hamed, whether it was a certain song.
Yeah, that was great.
And I actually think all the ring walks now with the fancy LED lighting and the tunnels and they all kind of look the same. Mm-hmm. So if everything is special, nothing is special.
Right.
And I watched some of these old fights of the 80s when Chavez would come out with his family, third uncle, cousin, his little son.
The mariachis.
And that was like his thing, right?
Yeah.
Anytime a main events fighter came out, the 84 Olympians formed like a phalanx. It was like, hey, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
When Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler came out, one came out with the Michigan Marching Band, the other came out with their own thing. Other champions that had multiple belts. Hamed was a whole different level. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the guys in the 80s used to come with their entourage with the 4 belts, and they'd be running down. It'd be like a crew of people. I used to love that because every kind of entrance was unique.
Yeah.
Now everything just kind of looks the same. It's a cookie cutter. Am I being an old man here?
No, I think it added to the charm. It added to their personalities.
Well, Camacho would come out with like the song. It'd be
characters and stuff. No, I agree. I miss that. Now you get rappers to come out with them. You get singers and all that.
When it was unique, it was good. But when everyone did it, I still remember Julio Cesar Chavez came out in his fight against Hector Camacho. Now, Camacho came out to Ain't No Stopping Us Now. Him and Larry Holmes basically shared that song.
Good song.
And Camacho did a great little run through where he was dancing with everybody. They see his mom. Chavez, I'm trying to get this song on a single. It's called Mexico, Mexico, Gran Campeon. And they had their own like Super Bowl shuffle Chavez song.
I can loop you doing that.
Dun 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 Mexico. And I'm like, now it's just gone. Now it's just like everything is like sponsored.
Yeah.
Walk down, and that's it. I'm like, I'm kind of bored to death. I'm old. I
know. I miss those. Those were fun, man. That's what made it seem like sort of like Street Fighter.
It goes like a renegade. It's like the renegade spirit to this sport.
Champions are not born. They're forged. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every setback, a lesson. But this is not just about winning. This is about turning the ordinary into the extraordinary and becoming undisputed. Available now.
Final Flurries.
All right, moving on. Final Flurries. Mario, sad news. Late last week, I think it was Monday night, I get a call from my old partner at Max Boxing, Gary Randall. I've not talked to in years. And he said, Steve, I just want to break the news to you. He told me that Tom Gerbasi, who was the fourth partner of Max Boxing, which was started by Gary Randall, Doug Fisher, then I was added. And then a short time later, Tom Gerbasi was the fourth musketeer. And he was a pioneer because he ended up becoming the UFC.com content editor or manager. He really had a vision about UFC, had an accomplished career, and he was only about 2 years older than me or Doug. I mean, we were stunned. When I called Doug, I said, Doug, I got bad news. I just got the message. Tom Gerbasi was a solid writer, very fair journalist, and a good guy. We're all going to miss him, did great things, and I just want to give a salute out to him.
I'm sorry to hear about your friend, man. It just makes you, put things in perspective and realize life is...
it's precious.
It's precious, it's quick, it's fleeting, so,
You got to enjoy every day.
You got to enjoy it.
So a salute to my old partner and my old colleague at Max Boxing, Thomas Gerbasi. You will be missed. Mario, speaking of life being hard... Remember there was a time we'd see videos of Adrian Broner flushing $20 bills down the toilet?
About billions?
About billions. Not even accepting change at Walmart. Times have changed now for Broner. Oh, boy.
Bro, so rewind a little bit. About a week ago, he was trending because he was on Mace's and Cameron's show, the popular, where he was drunk and he was flirting too much and being inappropriate with one of the female co-host.
Yeah, the host.
Yes, and I think it was Cameron that asked him he had to leave, and they kicked him out. They kicked him out because, hey, man, you're out of pocket. You got to leave. And it was really, really embarrassing, and that went viral, and that was obviously not a good look. Cut two, he's at a restaurant, runs up a $2,200 tab, which he's not alone. He had to be with some people, so he's got to maybe recheck that circle of friends. And then somebody busts out their phone and catches him hammered again and says, hey, man, I don't have the money. I was going to come back tomorrow. I like when you go to that restaurant, I'm going to come back tomorrow.
Hey, send me your Venmo.
That's like Wimpy. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Sorry, what restaurant is this?
Exactly. They didn't let him leave, so he was busting out everything he had, and so they were trying to make it. But again, hammered, an embarrassing moment, not a good look. And a pretty sad fall from grace, considering a guy who was really talented at one point.
But hasn't this descent been about 10 years in the making? He's never been the same since the night in San Antonio, and I was there, December of 2003. Maidana with that hook just clipped him. I didn't know.
He dropped him a few times.
Oh, I dropped him once and then once in the 8th.
Yeah, tried twice.
And I remember that crowd being electric, and it's being described as one of the great nights in Twitter boxing history because people had a lot of fun with it.
Because he had to come out. He was a loud, brash, arrogant, rude, kind of disrespectful guy. Up until, that's the Paulie fights when they were both sharing the chick or whatever the heck. That was bad.
The side piece battle.
The side piece battle. And then Maidana, who's just a quiet, serious, brooding,
quiet assassin,
hardcore, bad dude. Didn't have time for that nonsense. Let his hands do the talking and put him on him, and just that was great. That was a great night of television. Great, and you're right. He was still a character, and he was fun for the sport. I actually enjoyed watching him. He was talented.
I was a fan.
But man, it's sad kind of what happened. Then he got logged. He started doing business with Don King. He's got to be what 114 years old at least, right?
And he lost to Blair Cobbs on a show that was, I think, it was very, very sparsely attended. But to talk about your point, because I enjoyed the antics, it was fun. Yeah. But there comes a point in life where are you going to become a character or turn into a caricature? And that is certainly what happened with Broner.
And that he had baby mama problems. I think he's got about 8-10 kids. Does he?
Like that. Oh, jeez.
Something crazy like that.
Mario, you went to the Charger game yesterday. How's my MVP doing? How's my
Talk about Herbert?
How's my guy doing?
Herbert. It was quite the weekend. So I went to the Dodgers game where they were down 4-0 in the first inning. Glasnow was getting taken out. And I was like, ooh, it was going to be rough. Dodgers came back to win that day. Next day I go to the Chargers game. Chargers are losing. I'm like, ooh, Denver's looking good. This is not our day. Herbert stepped up and Chargers won. So 2 come from behind games.
What did I say was Herbert's last step as a quarterback? Be good in the last 5 minutes, right?
Did you see that pass he threw to Keenan? And oh my God, while he almost sacked in the hand of the face. But you know what, Kim? It seems like every year the Chargers are plagued with injuries. Najee Harris with that non-contact Achilles tendon. Whenever you see someone go down without contact, you know it's an Achilles tendon. Snapped it, he's gone for the year. Okay, we already lost Khalil Mack with a broken elbow. Yeah. Oh, by the way, going backwards again, we lost Will Smith with a broken hand with the Dodgers. So, yeah, my LA teams are taking a beating. Hopefully it's enough for the Dodgers to get through. Hopefully it's enough for the Chargers to keep going.
Call back Austin Eckler.
No, he got hurt too.
Oh, jeez. Really?
Austin Eckler got hurt, but I'll tell you who we did call back, and boy, are we happy we did. Keenan Allen. He's looking great. My guy looks like.
And by the way, you did invite me to the game this weekend. Thank you. But
I invited you, and I invited Frazier.
He invited me too.
Yeah, but I was
trying to pass around that same ticket.
I was in.
I had 2, but both you guys couldn't go.
No,
I had to work.
I'll take a rain check. I was in Miami for the Miami-Florida game at Hard Rock Stadium. I want to say one thing. I love the stadium, but I've been to 2 games. Miami's had 4 home games. Every single game, there's been a pattern. When I get there on Thursday and Friday, it's clear as day.
Game day training.
The day before, it's like 85 degrees. I'm like, this is great. It rained every game this season, and the whole day on Saturday.
It's Miami, Kim.
Right, but you know, no. But it rains throughout the day. Now, there's an old joke. You don't like the weather in South Florida?
Wait 5 minutes.
Wait 5 minutes. It'll change. So my thing is this, to the Miami Hurricanes program. I know Stephen Ross and the Dolphins own the stadium. I believe the University of Miami with the NIL, we need to raise funds, not for a player, but for a retractable roof. It's the perfect game day experience.
But it's warm rain. You're out there and it's getting warm. You should like that. It's like
you're out there with college kids in the rain.
Yeah, but it's slippery and the ball slips and our offense was affected.
But that's for both teams, though. You know, it's not just one team. That's for both teams. Nothing like the rain we went to in the step up. But wait, I was losing.
Oh, that was Waterworld 2018.
So at the football game we were out here, you know, it's not retractable. But the sides are open. But I don't know what was going on Sunday. Dude, it was so humid. Everybody was like swampy, marinating in there.
Do you know that because it's not enclosed completely, this happened a couple years ago, the Chargers had a Monday night game, but because there was lightning outside, and even though you guys had a roof, because that new stadium has an open passage, there was a lightning delay.
Wow.
And that's
the only time there's delays, right? Because of lightning, not because of rain, snow, or anything.
So the Miami game against USF 2 weeks ago, they started the game and they had an hour 42 delay. So the rule is...
Wow, I bet they get a lot over there.
Well, every year now, when I was growing up watching Miami football, they never had delays. I think back then it was like, hey, you guys have helmets. You're good.
Oh, God. The lightning, what happened? They just wouldn't delay them.
They didn't have lightning then.
Right.
I was going to say, they didn't have lightning?
But every year, Miami has a game or two. But the rule is, if a lightning is within 12 miles, teams have to leave. And it's a 30-minute clock. And you can get down to 29 minutes. And if another lightning warning hits, you got to run that clock back No. So the USC Purdue game was delayed by 2.5 hours.
Really?
In Lafayette, Indiana.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Miami wins. Great job, Mario. 4-0, onward and upward.
Wow, they're doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Number 2 in the country. I'm making plans for.
Are they number 2 again?
January 19th, national championship game at
Where's
Hard Rock Stadium
in Florida.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I may not be there that
Dude,
Monday.
Moneybags over here flies to Florida all the time. Wants to go to Japan.
JetBlue.
You working with the cartel or what?
No, I got a lot of miles with JetBlue.
I hear January 19th it's going to rain.
Yeah. Exactly. Mario, big personal milestone for your family, and I will be there because I RSVP. Now I might be watching the Florida State Virginia game.
Don't be rude. Don't
here
be
and there.
rude.
No, don't be on my phone. But it is Gia's Q.
That's right.
The Q.
Quinceañera means I'm getting old. Dude, these are like weddings, bro. So I got the quinceañera, the mariachis coming, the DJ, good food, lot of drinks, 10 cases of tequila. We just got another 5-6 cases of vodka.
I may have to Uber there.
This is going to be a rough weekend.
I may want to. Yeah, I may have to Uber.
And
this
then later on at night, I got the Raising Cane's chicken truck coming because that's Gia's favorite.
Okay, I'm definitely going to Uber.
Yeah, you got to Uber because you get a little hammered and you have some tacos right there next day.
I'm already an Asian driver. You can't send me out there.
No, exactly. So we'll be good. So that'll be fun on Friday. So, and then I'll have the weekend to recover. So
I'll be doing some interesting. I'll be doing a card opening, trading cards with our friends at Hustle, Sean Yapel.
You collect cards?
Oh, I have actually a pretty good collection from the 80s that are actually worth pretty good, like Ricky Henderson rookies, Cal Ripken rookies. Actually, like,
oh, that's why you go to Japan.
And now,
no.
That's
where do you keep these?
No, that's from my Hello Kitty collection. But no, no, I just keep them in a box, but yet they're sealed and they're locked down. But we're doing an opening of the Topps boxing series. Those boxes blew up, and we're going to be doing a live show. We'll have more details. Look out for my social media. I might get a Floyd Mayweather autograph. I might keep that. Whatever. We'll see what happens. It'll be Saturday. Happens. And then I'll be watching college football at Coach JB's.
Saturday and Sunday, I'll be recovering from all the tequila from Friday.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Hey, tell JB he's got a good little barbecue spot.
Absolutely will. All right, well, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule. Again, if you want to sponsor our fine program, email us at info@boxbid.io. On behalf of Mario Lopez and Smoke and Tim Frazier, this is Steve Kim saying, till the next round, goodbye, everybody.
Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our show on YouTube. It's fun. It's funny. I break this guy's balls. His wig looks crazy every week, but it's still worth doing it. Check out these badass shirts we got right now. Check it out.
Even though Mario's on it, you'll still learn something, and it's still some insightful analysis. And then I bring the funny, and I don't know what he brings.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm the star of the show here.
You bring the grumpy.
Oh, but the grumpy. Anyway,
I'll bring
like
the
and subscribe.
Yes,
3
please.
Knockdown
We
Rule.
appreciate you.